Boom, everybody, welcome to this channel. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to this channel. My name is Jeff Anozie, and I want to appreciate you for jumping on here on tonight's show. Welcome to tonight's show. This is the real estate show, and that's the RE show in short. This is the RE show, and I'm super excited to be here tonight as we will be bringing you a very interesting conversation around red flags to look out for in a real estate transaction. What are the red flags to look out for? What are the things that should point out that this real estate transaction is not a good transaction? So that is exactly what we'll be talking about tonight on tonight's show. Are you excited? If you're ready to learn, please let me know in the comment section. Just write something. If you have a question around anything we're going to be talking about today, please leave it in the comments box. Oh, by the way, if you're new on this channel, I'm Jeff Anozie. I am your real estate consultant. Our goal on this channel is to help you with your safe and profitable real estate investments in Nigeria. All right, that is the goal on this channel, and so we bring you this type of videos from time to time. So I want to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, like this video if you're going to find value in this video, and without wasting so much time, as I'm super excited about the things we're going to be learning tonight. I'm not alone today. I'm not alone today again. I'm here with a partner and friend. He is the CEO of Fort Real Real Estate Company. He's a property lawyer, so he's going to be helping us with the legal implication of things. And interestingly enough, he is also a real estate consultant, and he's the CEO of Fort Real Limited. Fort Real is a real estate investment company here in Nigeria. Barrister Raymond Ijeoma, he is coming on live to help us dissect. It's going to be a very interesting conversation around red flags to a bad real estate deal. How do you know? Like, what are the things you're going to look out for, right? That will show you that this deal is a bad deal. Those are the things we're going to be discussing tonight on tonight's show. All right. Now, a while ago, whilst I wait for him to connect, all right, a client was telling me some things. He said he was about to buy a property, and it was in Lagos, Nigeria, here in Nigeria. And when the real estate consultant met him, the real estate consultant was insisting that he makes a deposit before he will show him the documents of the land. He was about to buy a land, all right? And so the real estate agent was insisting that he should make a deposit, all right, on the property before he can, number one, show him the documents of the property, and then number two, take him to the location. All right. Now, if you're new in land purchases, you may think that is how it is done. Okay, you may think that, okay, maybe that's the status quo. Maybe that is how, right, is actually done. But no, that is not how it is done, right? That there is a proper red flag. All right. Now, in my video of yesterday, whilst we wait for our guest, I talked about something. I talked about how a prospective client reached out to me and told me that because I did a video on excision in process, that title called excision in process, which is very common in Lagos State, Nigeria. All right. And so, especially around that Ibeju Lekki axis of Lagos, they do that excision in process very often. And that is because the property in question is still undergoing excision, the process of excision. You know, according to the Land Act of 1978, all lands in Nigeria belong to the government. Now, I did a video earlier on two types of land, the free lands and the acquired lands, right? I did a video on that, and I also went ahead to tell you that under acquired lands, all right, there is the engaged lands, all right, and there's global acquisition, or the general lands, all right. Now, the general lands or the global acquisition, the one that is called global acquisition or the general acquisition, are properties that the government have actually earmarked. It's actually under government acquisition, but it has not been earmarked for a particular project. All right. So that kind of land can be released. It can be released back to the community, like the indigent community, or to a real estate company, all right, that wants to purchase the land. All right. So that kind of land, now the process of releasing a portion of that land to either the community or the real estate company is called excision. It's called excision. All right. And so when that excision process is done, then the land has been excised. And so the community, the family, or the real estate company can actually go ahead to make a purchase on that land. Now, but before the land has been properly excised, all right, before that process has gone through, all right, most real estate companies now decide to start marketing the property before they get permission, like proper permission, all right, from the government to actually release the property. Okay. Now they now use a term called excision in process. Excision in process. That's the use in marketing that type of land. All right. And you will see a real estate agent or a real estate company insisting on you to purchase that kind of land. And so when that prospective client called me, I was telling me this and stuff. I went ahead to explain these things to him properly. Will I say, fortunately or incidentally, he had bought some properties already with the excision in process title. Okay, so I went ahead to explain to him and then educate him so that next time, all right, so that next time he doesn't make that kind of purchase again. And these are the things we are delighted to talk about on this channel, especially tonight. All right, so our guest speaker is in the house. Welcome, Mr. Osita. Good to have you here. Please, once you jump on live, or if you're watching the replay, please let us know where you're joining us in the comments box. Just maybe type your name, type live or replay, and then let us know where you're joining us from. Again, if you've not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and like this video if you like it. And so I'm going to be inviting our guest now, without wasting any more time. I'm going to be inviting him, and I would leave the honors to him to introduce himself and tell us a bit about himself, and then we can go ahead with the conversation of tonight. Welcome, Mr. Barrister Raymond Ijeoma. You are live. Thank you so much for taking out the time in your busy schedule to join us in today's conversation. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Good evening to you, and good day from wherever you are joining us from. My name is Raymond Ijeoma, and I am the managing director of Fortune Limited. I'm also a legal practitioner that created a niche in property law. I believe you can hear me, Mr. Jeff.
Yes, we can hear you clearly, loud and clear.
All right. Thank you. So, created a niche in property law and have helped through Fortune Limited helped a number of clients to invest in real estate, both in Nigeria and abroad. So very briefly, we're already past schedule, and I'd like us to go straight to the point. And Mr. Jeff, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm already very excited about the things we're going to be learning tonight. So without wasting so much time, we're going to be talking around the topic, the real estate, like red flags to look out for in a real estate investment so that we can avoid a wrong real estate investment, either for your next investment or your first investment. All right. So that is what we're going to be looking at today. Please, sir, please, can you go ahead to point towards what are the red flags as from a legal practitioner point of view, and also from a real estate for someone that is running a real estate company in Nigeria? Please educate us. What are the red flags that we should look out for, and how do we identify it, and what should we do about it, sir? Thank you so much.
All right, thanks so much, Mr. Jeff. Very quickly, let's start by really establishing what red flags are, right? As far as real estate is concerned, it's important, very important, that we pay critical attention to some things. Some of them are very, 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 very minute, as it were. They are very tiny details, but the fact that you pay critical attention to them helps you to avoid wasting money, because you will agree with me that real estate investment is capital intensive. There's a lot of money involved, and because there's a lot of money involved, a little mistake can cost you a lot. All right, so that's the reason it's important that you pay very critical attention. Pay critical attention to this conversation, right? So what are red flags? Red flags simply draw your attention to the fact that you should be careful, right? You should be careful. They are potential problem pointers. They reveal problems, right? They also they kind of make you draw your attention to points where you should take caution, be warned. There are some red flags that simply tell you to run, get wrong. There are some that draw your attention to the fact that you should dig in deeper. You should ask more questions. You shouldn't just jump in, right? That's simply what flags are. That's the reason we titled it in this manner, that you should that they are the red flags in real estate transactions. So basically, some of them require you to run, some others require you to dig in deeper, ask more questions, and then there are a couple of others that once you get them, you just disappear. All right. So let's quickly run into. Okay. Right. Why are there red flags in real estate transactions? Why are there red flags in real estate transactions? And for me, basically, I see two things for this. First is because real estate investment is good business.
Yes, absolutely. Right? Absolutely.
Yeah, and because it's good business, it also attracts people who want to reap from the good business angle of real estate investment. And also is because it is capital intensive. So for instance, you are investing, say, 200 million naira. Oh, let's not go too far. Let's say you're investing 10 million naira in real estate, right? We're investing 10 million in real estate. Now, if you eventually, God forbid, fall into the wrong hand, the person you are falling into his wrong hand would, at the end of the day, may be making so much from that transaction, because the money, the value of money involved is already so much, right? So because of that, it's a different game when somebody is selling fruits, selling mango, or very that the financial value is not so much, right? And someone who really wants to make money wouldn't be looking for how to be a fraudster to someone who is selling mango. The value may not be so much. Do you understand? So for a business like real estate, if you hit as a fraudster, you hit big, right? So it makes it very attractive for fraudsters to just come in. So simply, so far, those are the two reasons that I have seen why there are so much red flags in real estate. Right before me, there are about 25. I've actually been putting this together to make them 30 for a book, but we're going to have to discuss somewhere around 10 or 12 today, and let's see
Okay.
how much we can have to do that.
Awesome,
So
sir.
first, let's look at the reciter, the title document itself. Now, every time I talk about real estate, I try to let my audience know that there are a lot of things. Two basic things are critical as far as real estate investment is concerned. Number one, the location of the land, right?
Location.
Two, the title document. The location of the land and the title document. If your location is good, thumbs up. If your title documents are on point, great, you are good. Right? Those are the two basic things you should pay critical attention to as far as real estate. Well, I'm not saying just these two, right? I'm saying
Yes.
two basic that you should really pay attention to. The first things that you should look out for: the location of the land or the property, and the title document, the documents involved. Now, in that title document, there's a part of it that is very important
Okay.
for property transactions. I
Okay.
really consider it very important because as a lawyer, when a matter goes to court or when a property deal goes to court,
Mhm.
that part really helps the court. And let me explain.
Oh, okay.
But first, it helps. It's referred to as a reciter. It's
The
referred to as
recital.
reciter. Yeah, it
Okay.
is. Yeah, yes. It's that part of the title document that gives you a background of how of the land, a background of the land or the property, right? And it helps you to understand how far the property has gone, right? So,
Okay.
for instance, Mr. A bought the land, or the Mr. A, quickly, there are a number of ways that you can become the owner of a property. It's not just by buying. You could become the owner of a property by deforesting and taking possession of the land over a period of time. And that's just one
Wow.
way. Yeah, you could also become an owner of a property by buying. You could become an owner of a property by inheriting, right?
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
when you look at all of that, you realize that at a point, there's always a trace back to where the whole thing started from.
Yes,
So,
sir.
also, it's important for you to understand there is a principle in law that in English is translated as you can't give what you don't own, or you can't give what you don't have, right?
Okay.
And that really
Okay.
helps the reciter because if you are Mr. D and you are the owner of the land, there's a mistake that some or most lawyers make. And that mistake is after they have taken care of the first part of the document, the next part they go to, which is the reciter, they'll simply say, Mr. Jeff is the beneficial owner of this land. And Mr. Jeff, blah, 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 hereby transfers interest to Mr. Raymond, right?
Okay.
Now, the question
Okay.
you should ask yourself is, how did Mr. Jeff become the owner of that land?
Oh, okay.
Mr. Jeff,
Okay.
how
Yes,
did
I'm here. I
Mr.
can hear you.
become the owner of that land? Now, that is the importance of the reciter. The reciter tells you that Mr. Jeff inherited this from his father. How did the
Okay.
father become the owner of the land? The father deforested the land. It was a virgin land. The father deforested it, took possession of it over a long period of time, and before his death, he eventually transferred interest to Mr. Jeff, or Mr. Jeff inherited it.
Oh,
Right? So it's not doesn't make sense to just jump at the point where you say Mr. Jeff is the beneficial owner of the land. Now, this is where it's important. It's important at this point because peradventure, there's a dispute on the land. The fact that you have traced that already in the title document, the moment you tell that, because really a document by law is meant to speak for itself.
hmm.
So the fact that you have traced that already in the recital helps you in court. Nobody's praying for your land to fall into. There is always a paraventure. And really,
Yeah.
when I do title documents, I actually look out for that, because paraventure, anything happens 20 years time, will the land be able to withstand the storm? And really,
Mm.
that's where it puts your attention back to the fact that the title documents is important. After buying the land, what really protects? That is a title document. Okay, so
Yes.
if the reciter doesn't make sense, if the title document doesn't, is so vague, certain things are not clear. You look at it ordinarily. When you look at the title document, you should be able to answer certain questions for yourself. So, say
Yeah.
for instance, I traveled to help my in Edo State to help a client, invest, buy a property, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
the location was good. I checked out the After I saw the location, the pricing was not really a problem for me at that point, because I already knew that the location was good. So I asked for the title document. The moment the title documents were brought to me, but it was one specifically. The moment that came to me, I looked at it. A very important page was missing. The reciter was nowhere to be found. The history of the land was not there. Everything was just. I looked at it. I'm like, something is missing. Something very important is missing. And without this, we don't have a deal. The land was the asking price for the land was 4.5 million naira. At that point, if they had given me that land for 2 million naira, I wouldn't take it.
Wow.
To show you importance, I saw that part of the document. In fact, if they had given me that land for 500,000 naira, I wouldn't take it, because already it establishes a problem for the person I am trying to invest for. Okay,
Mm.
so we took time, looked out, so we had to sort out that thing before we moved forward. So it's important that you understand some of these things. So if the history of a land is not clear, the reciter doesn't really reveal. It's important that you ask questions. And sometimes I'll not blame clients, I'll blame some lawyers. They just go straight to the point and just hit the nail on the head. I won't blame clients at that point. But beyond the document, if the person is able to answer certain questions, right, then you can now tell your lawyer to help you do it properly. Okay, so say for
Oh.
instance, this same land I'm talking about, at the end of the day, it was only a reference to the person buying from. There was no back end reference. So as a lawyer preparing the document for my client, I had to trace, I went beyond the first document I saw and dig into the history of the land, then I traced it back till it
Wow.
got to my client. So even though the predecessor, the person we are buying from, did not reference that properly, our own document, the title document I prepared for my client, did that for him.
Oh,
Okay, so that helps
beautiful.
you understand. So if the
Mm.
history of a land, the reciter is meant to review the history. Now, if the reciter is there but it doesn't explain the history properly, or the reciter is not there but the history is vague, the history doesn't make sense, the owner cannot explain who it bought from, it's a red flag. If certain questions cannot be answered satisfactorily, that is a red flag. Let us run
Wow.
to the next. Number two, there is a little dispute on the land. That I'm quoting now. There's a little dispute on the land, but I am the first son. It is my inheritance. That's the phrase they
Yeah.
will use. But
Yes.
once they use the phrase, that is a red flag. It is a red flag, because there is no certainty of the fact that you have inherited this land. For a place like Edo, there's something they call the customary law called Igiobe, right? When the father dies, there are certain burial rites that should be performed before this acclaimed son inherits and before he can now sell. Okay, so
Wow.
it's not just enough to I am the first son. It is my father's property. Now my father is dead. I can now sell. Right? So if the person is saying, I am the first son, it is my inheritance, there are certain questions you should ask. And also that depends on the location, the customary law in that location. So if it's a place like I am aware in the East, ladies don't, if they are, okay, I think recently the Supreme Court did a tweak on that and reversed that. But however, I know there are still some places in the East where they don't allow ladies to inherit properties, even though the law is against that already. So for a place like that, you have to ask questions when the lady now comes and says, I inherited the land.
Okay.
And you know that by the customary law of that place, a lady cannot inherit a land. So what do? That's a red flag. You understand? So
Yes.
as far as inheritance goes, there should be certainty as to if the right things has been done, and then the person you are buying from has properly taken title. Title has been vested in him. I think let me use this point to also explain the issue of allocation. There are some families that allocate land to their family members, right? And they are saying, okay, let's leave that. We'll talk about it in another point so that I won't miss up a couple of things. So basically, as far as that goes, if they inherited the land, then you should ask a couple of questions to be sure that the right thing was done and title has been vested in that person. Because again, remember the principle: you cannot give what you don't have. So if the person has not properly taken possession, title has not properly been vested in that person, the person by law cannot transfer successfully or rightly to you. And number three, there is
so before you go on with number three, there are a couple of questions in the comments section. We're going to attend to that towards the end of this section. But please, if you're watching, you have questions, please leave it in the comments. We're definitely going to answer to your questions. If you're just joining us, welcome. We are talking about red flags to a real estate investment in Nigeria, especially. And with me is barrister Raymond Ijeoma. He's here to dissect this topic as he is an authority in it. So he's sharing from a legal standpoint and also from a real estate expert standpoint. We've talked about the recital in the title document, and then the whole I am the first son and I can sell. All right. So we've talked about those two, and then we'll be going on now. But before we go on, please hit this subscribe button if you've not subscribed, and please like this video if you like it, so that we can bring you this type of educative videos from time to time. Please go on, Sam. Sorry to have cut you short. Thank you so much.
There's no problem at all, sir. All right. Thirdly, there's another phrase. The person says there is a will in which I am the beneficiary. There is a will and I am the beneficiary. Now, let me make this very clear. A will is not a title document.
Okay.
Awesome. Is not titled. What a will simply does is that it shows or expresses the intention of the person who made the will. That document doesn't transfer title. That document simply says that you, Mr. A, should take this property in Abuja. Mr. B should take this property in Lagos. That is simply what it does. And then the document further says Mr. Jeff and Mr. Raymond will be the ones to serve as executors to this property or to my estate generally. Right? Now, there are procedures to achieving that. There are procedures to making title flow to the beneficiary in that will. So if you have somebody want to sell property to you and is saying that I have title document, where is the title document? He brings a will, run. All right. Really, it makes sense to run because the procedures before that,
Okay.
there are procedures that are meant to be followed before
Yeah.
the beneficiary. The beneficiary is the person who the 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 will maker has given. So let's say Mr. Jeff now in the picture. He is a beneficiary. They write his name in the will as the person who should take the property in Abuja. Now, at that point, he's a beneficiary. But before he can transfer title to another person, right? He must have been a document which is referred to as an assent must have been executed by the executors that have been mentioned in that will. So through that document, which is known as an assent, title is given to him through the executors. So if you don't see that document, which is referred to as an assent, if you don't see that document, then you don't have any business transacting with that person. That is a red flag.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's really as simple as that. Or as
Please,
simple
can
as
you,
that, rather. So
please,
I'll go to number.
please.
Okay,
Okay, okay, fine. The
go on,
accent,
sir.
please just explain what the accent is, for laymen like us. What is the accent and who prepares the accent? What is the information on the accent? And then how does that transfer will? How does that transfer the rights, from the will to the owner, to the beneficiary? I don't know if I made
Okay,
sense, sir.
yeah, I totally understand. Now, I use you as an example. I said, for instance, let's say I'm so rich, and I'm about going to meet my father in heaven, and then
Okay.
I'm like, okay, Mr. Jeff, I hereby by this will give you my estate worth 500 billion naira to you in
Amen.
Abuja. All right. And let's just say you are the only one, or let's use another person as well. And then let's say Mr. Ijeoma, you should take the
Yeah.
property. I hereby will the property in Enugu to you, right? And then I transmit to the heavenlies. In that document, I also would have appointed Mr. Buhari and say Mr. Goodluck Jonathan as executors. Their duty or duties, as far as that will is concerned, is to go and apply for probate. Right? That's technical. Let me not go very technical. But in summary, their duty is to do certain things as the court registry. Having done that, they are vested, they are granted, it's called probate, they are granted probate. Now, once that is done, it gives them the legal right. Title automatically now vests in them from me. Do you understand how it flows now? Remember, I
Yeah.
said that you can't give what you don't own. A person cannot sell property except title vests in him. So from me as the owner, legally, I transfer. In fact, the will does not even transfer title to the executors.
Wow.
Do you understand? It is at the state registry that certain things are done and title now legally vests in the executors. Then the executors will now prepare a document. It's somewhat the same, almost the same thing as a title, a deed of transfer,
You
right?
did.
But just that
Okay.
there are certain words that should use, there are certain background. The reciter is also a little bit different. It also should establish how the will, how they all got to the point where he got to be able to transfer that title. So at that point, the people I appointed haven't done the necessary things that should be done at the probate registry. We then have the right to prepare that document. They will be the ones to sign. And as a matter of fact, this is also one of the red flags. I think we'll talk about that in our next week. Only one person cannot transfer that title.
Really?
Yes. When you see an assent signed by only one person, you should be careful. You should ask, you should dig in very deep, like dig in very, very deep to be sure that somebody is not doing something fraudulent. In fact, I think we're already talking about, I think that as number 5. So we'll merge these 4 and 5 together. And then let me tell you a story. I was coming back from court one day, and I had to join my one of the seniors in my office complaints. I was having a conversation, and he told me he just left court for a very bad case. And I was like, okay, what happened exactly? He gave me a background of what happened. And so in summary, his client bought a property that only one executor signed. And there,
please, when you mean executor, who is an executor?
Okay, an executor is the person I appointed
to take over.
So,
okay.
Yes, to manage my estates after my death.
Okay. Please go on. Thank you so much for that.
So the client, his own client, bought a property that was signed by only one executor, and it sent a message of fraud. Because the reason they appoint more than one is to be sure that the mass estate will be properly managed, and his interest, even though he is dead, will be carried out. His instructions will be carried out to the letter. Okay, so this man bought from somebody who, first of all, the guy claimed that his father, he is the first son of the father. Now, you claim that you are the first son of the father. This is going to be a little take our time as far as for explanation. But basically, he was saying he's the first son. If you are the first son and there was no will, then what you should be getting at the registry is called a letters of administration. Now, if there is a will or there was a will, what you will be getting is probate. Okay, he claimed that he was the first son and that there was a letter of administration. However, on the other side, he claimed that there was probate. Now, here's the problem. In the whole picture, the person we blamed at the end of the day was the client's lawyer, the lawyer who prepared those documents. Because at that point, he should have asked certain questions. Right? So basically, let's leave this technical part. I hope that subsequently we can break all of these subjects down. We could talk about will on a day, and then that would have time to explain all of them. But basically, what we're trying to drive at from this point is that a will is not a title document, and that if somebody says he has a will as a title document, you should wait until the person gets an assent from the executors. Okay, and if the person is saying they are protecting probate, no, just wait till you see that assent. You don't have any business transacting with that person. The person can even be claiming to be, in fact, some people can even go as far as preparing wills by themselves, right, in order to claim ownership of their father's property after he had died. And in fact, this is very good. This is very important because they do it a lot. I've seen it a couple of times or more, where the boy is the bad son of the father, and the father eventually refused to will any property to him. Before the father will die, he will look for somebody to cook up a will and use that to sell his properties. So that's really important. You should take that very important. Okay, number 4. Okay, that should be number 5 since I already talked about probate a little bit. Number 5, person selling is not the family head. If the person selling first establish that, okay, who owns this property? They will tell you it is my family property. Now, the moment the person says it is my family property, then the next question you should ask is, who is the family head? And it should not be only from that person's mouth. He might claim to be the family head when he's 22. Oh God. So you should, beyond him, ask a number of persons, who is the head of this family? In law, you are meant to purchase property from the head of the family. If you buy a property, a family property that is not endorsed by the head of the family, in fact, the head of the family had no business. He wasn't aware. He didn't endorse. He in fact had nothing to do with the transaction. That transaction is void.
Wow.
So if you have any dealing with somebody who is claiming to own a property, to want to sell a property, although he's saying that it is family property, then you have to dig in deeper. You have to really dig in deep. And now here's another part of it. Some persons will not be truthful to you. They can tell you, okay, it's not family property. Family had given the property to me. The moment they tell you that, the next thing you should ask is, how did the family transfer title to you? There's a transaction I'm supposed to have. In fact, the client had paid. The moment I charged the client, he paid to my account. But till date, it's over a month now. We have not prepared title document for that land. Why? Because when the document was brought to me, the title document of the person selling to my client, when it got to me, I looked at it. First of all, the document was not. Secondly, I noticed that the person my client was dealing with, his name is different. The name I was seeing on the document was different. Now again, remember the principle I shared earlier. You cannot give what you don't have. If title is not vested in you, you cannot sell. So I asked the question, who is this person? Who is this person that his name is on the document? He said he didn't know. So I asked to speak to the person he had already paid 1 million naira to. So upon speaking to the person was trying to be shady. And of course, I'm asking a direct question. You don't have an option but to answer directly. If your answer is not direct, I know something is wrong. So at the end of the day, he told me that actually the person whose name is on the document is dead, and that the family, the land belongs to that man, but he was the head of the family, and the family had allocated those lands to everybody. And this particular one he wants to sell is for him. And I'm like, okay, no problem. I don't have any problem at all. But as far as this particular document is concerned, it cannot be used directly to my client because money cannot be going to you. You are the one signing the document, and title is from another person entirely. How does it flow? It doesn't really flow. It doesn't.
Yes.
You understand? So here's what I told him to do. I told him that I'm representing my client here and I have to present him fully. So what I told him to do was to go back. Since you are saying that, what you should do for me is get a document from your family showing the deed of, showing that title was transferred to you from them. Then from that document, with that document, your name now reflects in the transaction.
Yeah.
As part of the history of that land. And from there, you can now transfer title to my client. If it doesn't work that way, there will be a problem. Okay? And now, this is part of it. There was this transaction. In fact, this particular land was 39 hectares. 39 hectares, not acres. 39 hectares, to show how large the land is. This land is in the Court of Appeal right now. And the issue was because there was no deed of allocation. The family that owned this property said that this property has been shared. The other people say, okay, no, the property has not been shared. In court, once the parties join issues, this one is saying A, this one is saying B, then you have to prove. And how best do you prove than to show bring title document? Do
Yes,
you see the
title
logic?
document. Yeah.
You get. For some persons, they can say, family has given it to me. There's no problem. It's not my family, right? But the problem is not just about trusting that family or trusting your family. The problem is when a storm arises, how do you stand?
What
Can you
happened?
really withstand it? Do you get? So it's really
Yeah.
as simple as that. Till date, the guy at the end of the day said, okay, no problem. I was even willing, I was ready to prepare that document. There are two documents you could have prepared in that instant. Maybe they could do a deed of confirmation, which would simply be signed by family head, the present family head, since the past family head had died, by the present family head and two other members, and they will confirm that this land belongs to him. Or they could do a deed of allocation from the family. Till date, he has not responded. 1 million naira is in his pocket. My client is still waiting. He had paid me and I've spent the money. So it's important that you know who you are dealing with as far as family property is concerned. And then if the person is trying to shade the family head or trying to hide something, then that's a red flag. Let us run. We're already 47 minutes down.
Yeah.
Okay, number that's 5 or 6. The
Yeah,
person
number 5.
is unnecessarily unjustifiably desperate to sell the land. Unnecessarily and unjustifiably desperate to sell the land or sell the property. Now, pay attention to this very critically. There's a difference between when somebody is merely desperate to sell a property, person is in distress, right? Some persons can be in distress. Maybe there's someone in the hospital or something is wrong, like something is going very wrong. And the person, let us say this, and we need money badly. There's a difference between when somebody needs money badly and when the person is desperate to just sell it off quickly, get his money in your pocket and disappear.
And disappear.
So you have to pay particular point in time. You should pay attention to what the person is doing at that particular point in time. And that requires your sensitivity. That requires patience. That's why I tell clients, you don't buy properties in a hurry.
Yeah.
Take as much time as you want to. Don't buy properties in a hurry, right? So I could share one or two instances, but I think that really explains it. If the
Yeah.
person is
That explains.
desperate to sell the land, then you have to cool the person down. If the person is not willing to calm down, to be calming down, then you should be running away. You understand me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll just take one more so that we can wrap it up. One more so that we can wrap it up.
Okay, one more. Let me look for the one to take.
How about
Okay, let
an
me talk about
agent?
this.
Okay,
They
okay, go
do
on.
not want you to involve your lawyer. They do not want you to involve your lawyer. They are the agents. They are the ones selling. In fact, the people who do this most are agents. They tell you, no, I have a lawyer to prepare the document. No, I have a lawyer. I have a lawyer. Why they are doing that is to close your eyes from certain things. They bringing a lawyer for you or using their lawyer, then something they're trying to hide something, and you should pay attention to that. I think that should be that. I don't know if that's okay. Or I could talk about one more very
Okay,
briefly.
one more, please. One more, sir. One more briefly.
One more. Is the land too cheap? We like cheap things in this country.
As in,
If you will see a land that's supposed to be worth 5 million naira, and somebody wants to sell it for you for 1 million naira, and you are not thinking twice. For me, really, that's greed. And of course, with due respect to you, with due respect, it is greed. Because it makes no sense that they are selling a property here for 5 million naira and you want to get it for 1 million naira. Yourself, it doesn't make sense. So if and how do you know that the land is too cheap? Look at the location, look at the environment, look at the rate of development in that area. Look at all of those things and ask yourself, does it make sense to buy land here for 1 million naira? Then go to the next door neighbor, ask people around there, guy, how much do you think I can get in 100 by 100 here? Or how much do you think I can buy this property? Right? So when you do that, you'll be able to find out a number of questions. And of course, that's where people like Mr. Jeff come into play. He's an expert in the field. And by the time you reach out to him and you are like, okay, I want to buy this property, and they are saying it's 1 million naira, Mr. Jeff will just look around. Oh, that area, guy, run.
Best.
Right? Because he is already in the field and he knows when this thing makes sense and he knows when it doesn't make sense. In fact, I prefer properties to be more expensive than the value than when it's too cheap. If it is more expensive, then you can negotiate and bring it down. In fact, when the person is like, if there are some sellers, when you see some, oh, this is going to take more time, I think that's it. We're done, sir.
No, just explain. Go on. This is an interesting. This is an important topic. It is.
Okay. I was trying to. I get to meet some sellers. They are really different. Somewhat. There are many types of sellers, land sellers. There are some that they don't. They are so carefree, guy. There's one that literally told me I was disturbing him. In fact, that was the land that I was going to buy for a client in Eboma. The seller told me I was disturbing his line, that he's too busy, that he doesn't have my time. If I want to buy, let me buy. If I don't want to buy, let me go. I'm wasting his time. And I'm like, whoa, sir, calm down. Take it easy. You are here to buy your phone. We're just trying to take our time. Do you get? But there are some others. The moment you tell them, I want to buy your land, hey, they will disturb the hell out of you till you buy that land. They are so desperate. So you should watch out. You should watch out for the type of seller. And most of the time, the desperation comes from the agent because they want their 10%.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if the desperation moves beyond the agent to the person claiming to be the owner of the property, you should be careful. Right? So just look out for these attitudes. You watch out for their demeanor, watch out for what they are doing. And that now brings it back. If it is expensive and they are, there's an attitude you will see and you know that, okay, it looks like this man is not desperate for this money. Now let us negotiate.
Yeah.
There are some others that when you they want this money bad. Two things are involved. Either somebody is dying in the hospital or they want this money now, and they want to run away. Right? You should just be careful. Ask questions. I would simply just summarize this last part and just tell you that learn to deal with professionals. You can't have somebody like Jeff and make a mistake in the real estate transaction. He is not perfect. I am not. Right? But there are certain things that we can see because we have been in the business for a while. And you won't be. And that already has given us the capacity to see certain things that you won't see. That experience, the work over time. Right? So it makes more sense to do it right than to do it once and then make a very big mistake. So I think that should be that, Mr. Jeff.
Wow. Thank you so much, boss. Totally appreciate this. Please, if you have questions, please leave it in the comments box. We have a few comments here. Mr. Osita say Osita is here. Mr. Osita, thank you so much for jumping on this show. Mr. Austin Nee is asking, say, please, do we actually have an internet platform where anyone can access status of a property in Enugu State from any location? Thank you. Thanks for this topic. Very important. Um, please, sir, can you answer this? Let's use Nigeria in general. Do we have a property? Oh, by the way, Mr. Barrister Raymond is in Benin. He's based in Benin. However, property law is general, except like you mentioned earlier on, customary law that can be, peculiar from a custom to another, right? So this particular question, can you help us answer this question?
Okay, checking out the status of a property, that is possible anywhere in Nigeria. That is possible anywhere in Nigeria. However, for you to check out the status of a property, that can be done when the property has a C of O or the property has a governor's consent. I believe one of the days, Mr. Jeff will talk about the difference with would give enough time to addressing the issue of C of O and governor's consent. However, they are a bit different, but from the same family.
Okay.
So to answer your question, if the property has a C of O, a governor's consent, you could easily write a letter to the land registry. Write a letter to the land registry, or for a place like Edo State, it is called the Edo Geographic Information System, EDOGIS. For that, it is where the land documents in a state, the land registry of a state. Once you write to them, you pay a certain amount of money. You write to them, they would give you details of the land, the status of the land. The document will tell you whether there's a mortgage on the land, whether it's the charge of the land, who owns the land, how the land has flowed from the past, right? So that way you can check the status of a property. But if
okay,
you have C of O, okay.
No, go on, sir, please.
If the land doesn't have a C of O or a governor's consent, that will be very difficult. It is not possible to check, except you go through professionals who would do investigation for you, ask one or two questions here and there. But apart from that, checking the status of a property generally, you can only do that when the property has a C of O or a governor's consent. And I think for a place like Port Harcourt, there's something I discovered recently that they have that is referred to as Greater Port Harcourt, where a person can register property under it. It's a little vague for now, but basically, if a state has a distinctive way of registering properties or lands, then you could check that out. But basically, as far as that particular status of property is concerned, to know history of the land, what is going on the land, who owns it, and all of that, that can only be done if the property has a C of O or a governor's consent.
Okay. In addition, thank you so much for that. In addition, for Enugu State, as you were asking, you can get, if the property has a registered survey, because we've done a couple of investigations for a few people. So if your property has a registered survey, you can take that registered survey to Ministry of Lands are along the ministries, where all those ministries are. You can take it there, and then they can search, but of course, they will collect some money from you, of course. So they can search based on the coordinates on that land. They can search on their system and check the history of the record, because usually they record the history, especially when the property has a registered survey. So even if it doesn't have a C of O yet, in addition to what Raymond just said, so if the property doesn't have a C of O, a governor's consent yet, but it has a registered survey, you can use the coordinates on the registered survey in Ministry of Lands, in Land Registry, to check for the history of that particular property. Thank you so much for that, sir. Thank you, Mr. Austin, for that question. I hope, Mr. Austin, please, I hope we're able to answer you. Please let us know in the comments. We are just rounding off right now. Um, Mr. Osita again said, I've already learned so much. Keep it up. Thank you, sir. Thank you for watching. Mr. Osita said they will. Austin said, be coming down. Love that. Thank you so much for your comments. Please, Barrister Raymond, whilst we round off, please, how can we contact you in case we have other questions or we need further professional assistance? How can we contact? I've just put your number on the screen. I hope that's a WhatsApp number also. How else can we
Yes.
contact you? What are your services? How do you help prospective clients as far as identifying or purchasing a property is involved? Hello,
Okay,
sir, are you
basically,
there?
like I said,
Yeah.
yeah, I am. Like I said
Okay.
earlier, I run a real estate company where I'm the managing director, and the what the company does is real estate investments and securities.
Oh,
Under
beautiful.
investment to help you invest. Our focus is to make investors. And for us, we don't just want you to own properties. We want you to own properties and make money, right? And then ultimately become a millionaire real estate investor. Okay, and we also do property securities, and that includes investigation and documentation. I already talked about the importance of documentation. So basically, that summarizes what we do. But by secondarily, we do project supervision, property management, and in summary, we're looking forward to building a company where we can render real estate solutions at every point and in the most flexible manner, right? And like Jeff already said, you could reach out to me on 0706258957, and that's my WhatsApp number as well. You could also reach out to me on my email address, raymond.ejoma@gmail.com. And then, of course, the website of my company is www.fortreeray.com.ng. www.fortreeray REI.com.ng. Through the website, you can reach out to the company line where you could chat actively with us and get all your questions answered and possibly seal deals. I think
Awesome.
that's it, Mr.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir. So Mr. Austin is asking, he said, what if you're living outside Nigeria, regarding his previous question? He was the one asking about the property, how to access the status of a property. Okay, so in addition, he said,
That's also not a problem at.
I used to do that manually by going to lands office, but living outside the country, I don't know. Oh, okay, awesome. Okay, so basically, in 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 rounding off, is basically to just maybe contact a reliable source down here in Nigeria that can assist you. I think we're not very digital. Actually, our the secretarial systems of our country, we're not very digital yet. We're getting there, but for now, we just manually go to the office, especially in Enugu here. I don't know about you in Edo and in other places that you have done this for other people, Mr. Raymond.
Okay, what you can do basically is there are proxy transactions. You could do a proxy transaction. All you have to do is instruct your lawyer, get your lawyer, instruct him to apply for a public search, and he pays a certain amount of money. What he should do at that point is to prepare an affidavit. He prepares an affidavit that you instructed him to do that. He submits the affidavit, pays the sum, and he gets a certified true copy of what you are looking for. So that way he gets it, snaps it, or scans it and sends to you. You get what you want. It's not difficult at all, right? You could also, I don't know if another person can do it, but I've done it as a lawyer, and certain things are expected of us to do so as a lawyer. I wouldn't know if I'm not sure. I don't know if and because we are required to use our letterhead
Okay.
law firm letterhead. That I'm also a senior partner with Paraclet Attorneys. So you have to use your letterhead of the law firm to forward that document to the ministry, and they will respond to you in a couple of days. Really, that should take 24 hours, but somehow the last one I did took about a week, and then we got everything we wanted on the client. The client did not have any business with the office, right? He didn't have any business, doesn't even know where the office is, but eventually he gets his results. Okay, so that was it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Austin said, I'm happy with the answers, and a big thanks to the guests for the free education. Thank you for the free education, sir. We are totally appreciative. And that brings us to the end of tonight's show. I'm very excited for tonight's show. I've learned a lot. My notes is literally filled, you know, and we're going to be wrapping it up tonight right here. Thank you so much, Barrister Raymond. I totally appreciate you. We totally appreciate you. Let's do this again
I'm grateful for the
next week.
opportunity.
As a matter of fact, we didn't cover as much as we wanted to because of the because of our time. So, but let's keep it a date here, same channel, same station next week by 8:30 p.m. on Sunday. We're going to be continuing with the red flags. What are the other red flags to look out for in a real estate transaction? The goal is to help you make safe and profitable real estate transactions in Nigeria, as a matter of fact. And of course, you can leave your questions at the end of this video. If you're watching the replay, please leave your questions at the end of this video, and then we'll read through your questions and try to answer them at the beginning of next week's episode. All right, so thank you so much for jumping on here. Please, if you've not yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button, like this video, share it with a couple of other people that are interested in this type of information. Until we come your way next time, thank you for watching so far. Thank you for staying this far. Thank you so much, Mr. Austin. Mr. Austin said, Jeff, you're a superstar. Thank you so much, boss. I appreciate that. Thank you for always watching and always being a support. Thank you, Barrister Raymond. I totally appreciate you for your time and for the free information. I know I would have paid a lot for this information. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy a beautiful night.
Enjoy a
Yeah.
beautiful night.
Enjoy a beautiful night.
Yeah.
Enjoy a beautiful
Enjoy
night,
a beautiful
everybody.
night. Enjoy a beautiful night,
Bye
everybody.
for now.
Bye for now.